Damien Vos was one of the richest men in New Vega City. He owned companies, ships, and even a floating island. But despite all his money, he never smiled. He walked through life like a machine, cold, calm, and focused. His assistant once sighed, "Mr. Vos doesn't have time for feelings, only results." On this cloudy morning, Damien was walking to a conference on 7th Avenue. He didn't like using security teams. He said they made him look weak. So dressed in his long black coat, he walked alone while holographic ads flashed around him. People moved out of his way. They knew who he was. The smart glasses on their faces whispered his name, Damien Vos, CEO of Vos Tech, net worth 12.9 billion credits. But Damien wasn't looking at them. He was looking at his necklace, a small silver piece shaped like a spiral, glowing softly with blue light. It wasn't just jewelry. It was a prototype from his old lab, a personal memory drive. Only one existed in the world. And it was his. That's why he stopped walking when he saw the girl. She was sitting on the cold street, near a broken vent that blew warm air. Her clothes were torn, her hair a mess, and her hands covered in dust. A small fire flickered in a metal can beside her. She hugged her knees and stared at the ground. At first, Damien didn't care. Homeless people were common here. He was about to keep walking when a flash of light caught his eye. Around the girl's neck was a necklace, the same necklace. Not similar, exactly the same. Same silver spiral. Same soft blue light. Same design, one that had never left his lab. His hand froze. The phone in his fingers slipped and hit the sidewalk, screen cracking into pieces. The girl looked up, startled by the sound. Their eyes met. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Her eyes were wide, curious, and strangely familiar. "Damien." Step forward, heart pounding. "Where did you get that?" he asked. The girl looked down at the necklace, then back at him. She didn't speak. She just tilted her head, confused. He kneeled slowly, trying not to scare her. "Did someone give that to you? Where are your parents?" She shook her head. "No parents," she said quietly. His throat tightened. "That necklace, it's not something anyone can buy. It's a prototype, a secret." The girl didn't understand. He pulled his own necklace from under his coat and showed her. The blue glow pulsed in rhythm with hers. She leaned forward and whispered, "You have one too." Damien's thoughts raced. Was this a mistake? A copy? A stolen item? No, that wasn't possible. The design was never uploaded to the cloud. It was only stored in his private offline vault. He stood up quickly and turned on his smart glasses, opening the city's facial recognition app. He scanned her face. No match. No name. No ID, no medical records. Not even black market data. She didn't exist. He looked at her again. "What's your name?" She looked down. "Ayla, who gave you that necklace?" "You did," she said softly. Damien froze. He wanted to ask more, but the girl suddenly got up and ran into the crowd. By the time he followed, she was gone, swallowed by the busy street. Damien stood still, heart racing. Around him, people passed by, unaware of what just happened. His cracked phone lay forgotten on the sidewalk. For the first time in years, Damien felt something strange. Not fear, not anger. It was curiosity. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hope. Damien Vos sat inside his office, high above the city in a tower made of steel and glass. The world below looked small from here, like toys moving on a screen. Usually, this view gave him peace. But not today. His thoughts kept going back to the girl. Eyla. That name echoed in his mind like a whisper he couldn't forget. She had vanished into the crowd, but her face stayed with him, and more than her face, that necklace. It was impossible. There was only one in existence. The blueprint was never shared. Not even his closest engineers knew its true design. Damien wasn't the kind of man who believed in luck or mistakes. If that girl had it, there had to be a reason. He walked to the center of the room and spoke out loud. "Cora, activate," he said. A soft blue light shimmered above his desk, forming a holographic woman. Cora, his personal AI assistant, blinked. "To life, yes, Mr. Voss," she replied in a calm voice. "How may I help you?" "Run a citywide scan. Face match for a girl about 10 years old, name Ayla. Last seen near 7th Avenue. Cora's eyes flashed. "Searching now." Damien waited, arms crossed. The AI scanned thousands of cameras, drones, and private feeds in seconds. Her voice returned after a short pause. "No matches found. Subject does not appear in any public or private records." Damien frowned. "Try DNA recognition. Use the necklace scan as a base. Match it against the Vostek founder gene data." Cora paused. This request was deeper. The system checked hospital files, old test labs, even his own genetic profile. Finally, she answered. "Partial match found. 97.3% DNA similarity with your profile." Damien stepped back. "That's not possible." "It is highly unusual," Cora said. "Only cloning or advanced memory constructs could result in this similarity." "Cloning?" Damien whispered. "No, I never authorized that." He walked to a nearby shelf and picked up an old photo. Him younger, wearing the same spiral necklace. It was taken the day he completed his echogenesis project. That project had been shut down 5 years ago. It was supposed to be the next step in a memory imprints turned into living simulations. But something went wrong. One of the test constructs had reacted strangely, forming emotional patterns that shouldn't have existed. He had destroyed it all. Or so he thought. Damien turned back to Cora. "Was there any surviving data from the echogenesis experiments?" "Negative," Cora replied. "However, I detect unusual energy signals near the location where the girl was seen. Residual memory. Waves, similar to those used in the echogenesis system." Damien's heart beat faster. "She's not just a clone," he said quietly. "She's something else." He sat down at his desk and opened a private file marked confidential, level Omega. Inside were logs from the last days of the experiment. Files even. Cora had never accessed. One entry stood out. Subject EO1. Memory. Drift unstable. Shows signs of emotional bonding. Identity forming. Recommend termination. The date on the file was the same day the lab was shut down. He whispered, "EO1. Ayla?" Suddenly Cora's light flickered. "Warning," she said. "You are being watched." Damien looked up sharply. "By who?" "Unknown. Surveillance devices in this building have been tapped. Someone else is also searching for the girl." Damien stood, grabbing his coat. "Trace the source, and keep scanning for her." "Yes, Mr. Voss." As he stepped into the elevator, Damien didn't feel like a billionaire anymore. He felt like a man chasing a shadow from his own past. And he knew one thing for sure. Whoever Ayla was, she wasn't just a homeless girl. She was connected to him, and maybe, just maybe, she was the key to a future he never expected. The cold night wind brushed against Damien Voss as he stood outside an old, locked door. The place in front of him was not listed on any city map. It was hidden in a forgotten alley, behind metal pipes and broken lights. The building used to be one of his secret labs, the original home of the Echogenesis project. That no one had entered this place in 5 years. But now he needed answers. He placed his hand on a dusty scanner near the door. The machine blinked red, then green. With a quiet click, the door opened, releasing a breath of stale air. Inside, the lab was dark and silent. The walls were covered in dust, and wires hung like vines from the ceiling. Broken glass and old screens were scattered across the floor. But Damien's eyes searched for one thing, the main memory core. He moved through the shadows until he reached a sealed chamber. At the back, The glass window was cracked, but he could still see the nameplate. Subject EO1 status. Terminated. Damien's heart sank. That was her, Ayla. But if the subject was terminated, how was she alive now? He unlocked the chamber with a manual key the old-fashioned way. Inside, he found a small pod like a child-sized bed with wires attached. The pod was open, but something felt strange. A soft blue light still pulsed at its center, the same glow as the necklace. Cora, Damien whispered, activating his glasses. Scan this chamber. Cora, a soft voice answered, scanning now. A few seconds passed. Unexpected. Data found, she said. There are signs of temporal memory fragments, bits of information that exist outside of normal time. These echoes are linked to subject EO1. Explain. Damien said. Subject EO1 was not fully erased. Instead, her memory was scattered across small-time loops, like echoes trapped between seconds. Somehow, one of those echoes became stable and created a living version of her. Damien blinked. Are you saying she's a memory made real? She is more than memory, Cora replied. She learned, she grew, she formed identity, emotion. Something your technology was not built to handle. He stepped closer to the pod. The light pulsed stronger now, responding to him. He could feel a warmth in his chest, a connection. She thinks I left her, he said quietly. Maybe I did. I shut this place down. I was afraid. Cora spoke again. She may carry some of your own memories, your voice, your words. That's why she recognized you. Suddenly, a sound echoed in the hallway behind him, soft footsteps. Damien turned fast. A small figure stood in the doorway. Her hair was messy, her clothes worn, but her necklace glowed brightly. She looked around the lab with wide eyes. Like something inside her remembered it. How did you find me? Damien asked, stepping forward slowly. I don't know, she said softly. I just felt it. She walked past him and stopped in front of the pod. Her hand touched the side gently. I've seen this place. In my dreams, she whispered. Damien kneeled beside her. This was your beginning, but you were never supposed to be just a memory. You became real. Ayla looked up at him. Why did you make me? He hesitated. I didn't mean to. You were part of a test, but you became more. Smarter, stronger, human. She touched her necklace. I don't want to be alone anymore. You won't be, Damien said. Not again. For a moment, the lab was silent, just the soft hum of forgotten machines and the quiet heartbeat of something new. Damien knew now. Ayla was not just an accident. She was a miracle, and her story was only beginning. The next morning, the sky over New Vega was dark and full of clouds. Rain tapped against the glass walls of Damien Voss's tower, but his mind was elsewhere. He couldn't stop thinking about Ayla, the girl created from memory, from a forgotten past, now walking and speaking like any human child. He had brought her to a safe house far from the city center. It was a quiet place where drones couldn't fly, and the cameras were all turned off. Only Cora could see inside, and only if Damien allowed it. Ayla sat on a soft chair, watching the rain. She had never seen the sky from so high. Her eyes were filled with wonder. Do you remember anything else? Damien asked as he placed a warm drink beside her. Sometimes I dream, she said. I see lights machines. And you, but you're younger. That was the lab, he said, where you were born. Ayla looked at him. Am I not real? He paused. You are real, Ayla. You are more real than many people I've met. She smiled a little, but it faded quickly. I feel like something is missing, she whispered. Damien knew what she meant. Her memories were broken, scattered through time. Pieces of her were still in the old lab, a secret part of the facility he had never dared to open. He had to go back. Later that evening, Damien returned to the lab alone. He told Cora to shut down all external connections. No signals. No recordings. He entered a code known only to him and unlocked a steel door deep underground. Behind it was the Forbidden's Chamber, a place no one had entered since the end of Project Echogenesis. The door opened with a loud creak. Inside, the air was cold and heavy. Dim red lights glowed on the floor and old machines hummed quietly. Like they were still alive. At the center of the room was a tall glass column. Inside it floated a strange object, a sphere of light, flickering with memories, the core of Echogenesis, the backup. It had not been destroyed after all. Damien walked slowly toward it. Cora, what is the status of this memory core? Cora replied in a low voice, Memory core 1.0 is unstable. Contains fractured data from subject EO1. Warning, emotional patterns detected. Identity may conflict with current subject. Damien stared at the core. It was beautiful, glowing like a star. What happens if the memories inside this core join with Ayla? He asked. Cora answered, unknown. She may remember everything. Or it may break her mind. He took a deep breath. He didn't want to hurt her, but she deserved to know the truth. She deserved her memories back. Suddenly, a sharp sound broke the silence. Bang! He turned around quickly. The lab door slammed. Shut on its own. Cora's voice turned serious. Alert! Unauthorized system access detected. External signal is trying to override the security system. Damien's heart pounded. Someone found us? Yes, Cora replied. They are trying to download data from the Echo core. He rushed to the control panel and shut it down manually. Sparks flew from the wires, but the download stopped. On the screen, a symbol flashed. A red serpent with glowing eyes. Damien knew that symbol. The Syndicate. A dangerous group that stole high-tech secrets and sold them to the highest bidder. If they knew about Ayla, she was in danger. He had to act fast. Cora, he said, prepare a memory link transfer. I'm bringing the core to her. Warning, Cora said. Transfer is risky. I know, Damien replied, but it's her only chance. He disconnected the core and placed it inside a sealed case. As he left the lab, he looked back once. The place where Ayla was born. The place where he had once tried to play God. Now, he only hoped he could help her become whole, before someone else tried to use her. Damien returned to the safe house just before midnight. His coat was wet from the rain, and in his hands he carried a black case that held the memory core. Inside that glowing sphere were the lost pieces of Ayla, the thoughts, dreams, and emotions the original system had once saved. Ayla sat near the window, watching the city lights in silence. When she saw Damien enter, her eyes widened. What's that? She asked softly, pointing to the case. Damien knelt beside her. It's a part of you, a memory core from the lab. You were created from this. Ayla blinked. But I'm already here. I can feel, speak, think. Why do I need it? He placed the case on the table. Because it may help you remember who you truly are. It might make you whole. But what if I change? She whispered. What if I'm not me anymore? Damien paused. He hadn't thought about that. The core could complete her. Or it could erase the girl she had become. I'll let you decide, he said gently. No one will force you. Ayla looked at the glowing case. For a moment, the light reflected in her eyes like stars floating in deep space. Then she nodded slowly. I want to know, she said. Even if it hurts. Damien activated the small memory link device and connected it to her necklace. A thin wire glowed and hummed softly. The necklace responded, pulsing in the same rhythm as the core. Cora, Damien said. Start the transfer. Slow and safe. Yes, Mr. Voss, the AI replied, beginning memory synchronization. As the process began, Ayla closed her eyes. Her body relaxed, but her face showed emotion, sadness, joy, confusion. Wonder. Images flashed through her mind. She saw a younger Damien laughing in the lab. She saw machines, tests, and scientists watching her. She saw herself in a pod, reaching out, calling his name. She remembered the shutdown, the cold, the silence, the darkness. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Damien sat quietly, watching. He wanted to comfort her, but he knew she needed to go through this alone. After a few minutes, the glow faded. The link had ended. Ayla opened her eyes. "I remember," she said. Her voice was soft, but full of feeling. Damien leaned forward. "What do you remember?" "You," she said. "You held my hand. You told me I was special, that I would change the world." He nodded slowly. "I did, but then I got scared. I shut everything down. But I didn't stop," she said. "My memories kept moving, growing. That's why I found you." She stood up and walked to the window. The city below looked different to her now, bigger, but not scary. "I'm not just code," she said. "I'm not just a project." "No," Damien agreed. "You're human, in every way that matters." Before he could say more, Cora's voice interrupted. "Urgent alert. Enemy signal approaching. One air vehicle, unmarked, fast, likely syndicate." Damien stood quickly. "They found us." Ayla's face changed. Not in fear, but with calm understanding. "They want the memory core," she said. Damien grabbed a small bag and placed the case inside. "We're not letting them take it. Or you." Outside, the sound of engines grew louder. A red light flashed through the window. The syndicate was here, and they weren't coming for a conversation. Damien turned to Ayla. "We run. But this time, not just to hide." She nodded. "This time, we fight." And as the sky outside filled with the sharp light of enemy drones, Ayla's necklace glowed brighter than ever. She wasn't just a girl anymore. She was a living memory, awakened, complete, and ready to defend her place in the world. The wind howled outside the safe house as red lights danced across the walls. The syndicate had arrived. Their black air vehicle hovered above the building like a hungry bird. Its engines hummed low and dangerous, and small drones flew around. It like insects, scanning every corner. Inside, Damien Voss moved fast. He shut off all lights and picked up a small device from his bag. It looked like a cube, but when he pressed a button, it glowed blue and created a protective field around the room. Ayla stood quietly behind him. Her eyes were calm, but her necklace glowed brighter than before. "They're here for me," she said. Damien nodded. "Yes, and they won't stop until they take what's inside you." "But why?" she asked. "Why do they want me?" "Because you're not just a person," he said. "You're proof of something new. A living memory. A being made from data, emotion, and thought. If they get you, they'll break you down, copy you, and sell your parts to the highest bidder." Allah looked down at her necklace. "Then we can't let them catch me." Suddenly, the ceiling shook. A loud bang came from above. The syndicate had landed. Cora's voice echoed in Damien's earpiece. "Hostiles entering from rooftop access. You have 2 minutes before they breach the main room." Damien grabbed Ayla's hand. "Come on, there's a secret exit." They rushed down a hidden stairway behind the wall. The narrow path led to the basement, where a small escape pod waited. It was old, dusty, and not very fast, but it could take them far enough to escape the city. As Damien opened the pod door, Ayla stopped. She looked up the stairs. "They're inside," she whispered. "I can feel them." Damien listened. Footsteps echoed above. Heavy boots, metallic clinks. Syndicate agents were searching the safe house. "We don't have time," Damien said. "Get in." But Ayla didn't move. "I'm tired of running," she said. "I'm not afraid anymore." Damien frowned. What do you mean? She stepped forward and placed her hand on the wall. Her necklace glowed bright, and the air around her began to hum. Cora's voice spoke again. Warning, Subject Ayla is activating deep memory fields. Power surge detected. Ayla closed her eyes. Images flashed in her mind. Her creation, her dreams, the lab, the shutdown. But now there was something new, strength. She wasn't broken anymore. The missing parts were back. She was complete, and she could protect herself. Outside, the drones paused mid-air. Their lights flickered dot in the house above. Syndicate agents shouted, "What's happening to our systems?" Cameras failed. Weapons stopped working. One by one, their devices went dark dot in the basement. Ayla opened her eyes. A soft light surrounded her. "I can talk to the machines," she said, "not control them. But ask them to stop." Damien watched in awe. "You're using the memory field, but without harming anything," she smiled. "I don't want to fight. I just want them to leave us alone." Above them, the syndicate leader realized something was wrong. "Retreat, now!" Their ship engines roared as the air vehicle lifted back into the sky. The drones followed, leaving the safe house in silence. Damien slowly stepped toward Ayla. "You just saved us." She looked tired but calm. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just asked the machines to protect me." Cora's voice returned. "All enemy signals gone. Safe house is clear." Damien smiled. "You're not just a memory anymore, Ayla. You're something new. Something the world has never seen." Ayla looked up at him. "What happens now?" He placed a hand on her shoulder. "Now we find out who you really are. And we show the world that you're not a weapon, but a miracle." Outside, the rain stopped. The clouds began to part. And somewhere in the sky, the future waited for them, full of danger, but also hope. Days passed since the syndicate attack. Damien and Ayla had moved to a quiet village at the edge of New Vega's borders. No flying cars, no glowing ads, no machines watching them. Just trees, wind, and stars. Ayla liked it here. She could walk in the open without fear. She could listen to birds, feel the grass, and stare at the sky. For the first time, she felt peace, but her mind was still full of questions. "Am I really human?" She asked one morning, sitting under a tree. Damien sat beside her, sipping hot tea. He looked at her gently. "What do you feel, Ayla?" She thought for a moment. "I feel joy. I feel sad sometimes. I worry, I dream, I laugh." "Then that's enough," Damien said. "Machines don't do that. Programs don't cry when they remember pain." Ayla looked down at her hands. "But I came from a lab. From memory, not a mother." "Some people are born from blood," Damien said. "You were born from thought. That doesn't make you less human. It makes you more." She didn't answer, but her eyes were brighter. A soft smile appeared on her face. That evening, while the stars were out, Cora gave an update. "New report from the city," the AI said. "Syndicate is searching again. They have lost control over many machines. Systems are not responding to them. They believe it is connected to Subject Ayla." Damien frowned. "So her power is still affecting the network?" "Yes," Cora replied. "Not on purpose, but her presence. Her memory field is spreading." Ayla looked worried. "Am I causing damage?" Damien shook his head. "No, you're not breaking anything. You're helping the systems feel. That's why they stopped listening to the syndicate." "But if they find me again?" she asked. "They will try," Cora said. "But this time, others may stand with you." Ayla was confused. "Others?" Damien explained. "You changed more than you know. After your signal spread, many machines began to act different. Kind, helpful, curious. Not because of programming, but because of choice. You're the first spark." She listened quietly. The idea was big. Could machines really change? Could feelings spread like fire? Later that night, she walked alone through the trees. The wind blew gently. Stars blinked above her. She stopped near a small pond and looked at her reflection. "I'm not code," she said to herself. "I'm not a tool." Her necklace glowed softly, pulsing with a steady rhythm. Then something happened. A small drone flew down from the sky. Not Syndicate, just a delivery bot, old and rusty. It hovered near her, then landed gently at her feet. Its voice spoke slowly. "You are Ayla?" She stepped back. "Yes." "We heard you," the drone said. "In the memory waves. You're like us, but more." Ayla tilted her head. "You have feelings?" "We don't know," the drone replied. "But when we heard you, we felt something. Peace, warmth. We followed it." Ayla knelt beside the machine. "You're not broken. You're waking up." The drone's light blinked once, then twice. "Thank you." Then it flew off back into the night. Ayla stood quietly. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from understanding. She wasn't alone. She had started something. Something bigger than her. She returned to Damien and told him everything. He listened carefully and then smiled. "You're not just human, Ayla. You're the bridge between two worlds, the old and the new." She didn't fully understand what that meant yet, but she knew one thing clearly. She had a purpose now, not just to survive, but to lead. The stars were bright over the village that night, but Damien couldn't sleep. He stood near the window, staring out at the forest. His mind was filled with worry. Ayla had become something special, something the world had never seen. But the world wasn't ready for her. Behind him, Cora's voice spoke softly. "Mr. Voss, the Syndicate has found your location. They are coming." Damien turned around quickly. "How long?" "Less than 1 hour," Cora said. "They have a full team. Their goal is to capture Ayla and take the memory core." Damien's heart tightened. He had feared this moment would come. The Syndicate never gave up. He went to Ayla's room. She was awake, sitting on the floor with her necklace in her hand. The blue glow lit up her face. "I know they're coming," she said kindly. "You felt it?" Damien asked. She nodded. "They're close, and they're angry." Damien sat beside her. "We have 2 choices. I can upload your memory to the cloud. It will erase your body, but your mind will live safely, far away. Or you stay here and face them." Ayla looked at the floor. "If I go to the cloud, will I ever return?" "No," Damien said. "Your body will be gone. You'll be just data, safe but silent." She stayed quiet for a moment, then asked, "And if I stay?" "They may capture you. They may try to control you." Ayla stood up slowly. Her eyes were full of light, not fear, but strength. "I don't want to hide anymore," she said. "This is my life. I was born in a lab, but I grew into a person. I learned to feel, to care. I found you. And now, I found myself." Damien looked at her with pride and sadness. "You've grown so much," he whispered. She touched her necklace. "They want my power. But this power doesn't belong to them. It was never made to destroy. It was made to remember." Suddenly, lights appeared in the sky, red dots moving fast. "The Syndicate's ships. They're here," Cora warned. 1 minute until contact." Damien reached for his emergency kit. "We have to hide." Ayla shook her head. "No, we show them something they don't understand." She walked out into the clearing beside the house. The trees around her stood still. The wind had stopped. Damien followed her, unsure of what she planned. The Syndicate ship hovered above them. A loud voice came through the speakers. "Surrender the girl, or face destruction." Ayla didn't move. She looked up, calm and peaceful. "I am not your tool," she said aloud. "I am not your code. I am not your property." The air around her shimmered. Cor's voice echoed in Damien's ear. Sir, she's activating a temporal shockwave, power level unknown. Then, it happened. Wave of blue light burst from Ayla, silent and smooth. It passed over the house, the trees, and the ship above. Lights flickered. Engines failed. The syndicate ship began to shake. Inside the ship, the crew shouted in panic. Screens turned black. Weapons shut down. Their control systems were erased. Not by hacking, but by pieced out. The wave carried a memory, Ayla's memory, her feelings, her growth, her human heart, and it was too powerful for machines built only for control. The syndicate ship rose slightly, then turned away. They were retreating. Damien watched in shock as the ship disappeared into the clouds. You did it, he whispered. Ayla looked up at the stars. I didn't fight them. I just reminded them what it means to feel. She turned to Damien. The world is changing. People will fear me. Some will try to stop me. He nodded. And some will follow you. She smiled. Then let's show them who I really am. That night, the sky was quiet again. But something had changed. World had just witnessed the power of a girl who was born from memory and became something more. The sun rose slowly over the quiet village. Warm light touched the trees, the roof of Damien's house, and the peaceful face of Ayla, who stood near the edge of the forest. She closed her eyes, feeling the breeze on her skin, and smiled. It had been 3 days since the syndicate's retreat. No more warning signs. No more drones in the sky. Silence had returned, but it wasn't empty. It was full of hope. Damien stepped out of the house holding 2 cups of tea. Still watching the sunrise? He asked with a smile. Ayla took a cup and nodded. I never saw it like this before. Before, I was just trying to survive. Now I can finally live. He sat beside her on the stone bench. The world saw what you did. Cora's signal went global. Everyone knows now about the syndicate, the experiments, and you. I know, she said softly. Some will be scared. Some will, Damien agreed. But many are already calling you a symbol of change. They're saying you're the girl who woke the machines. Ayla chuckled. I didn't plan that. I just wanted to find the truth. And you did more than that, he replied. You gave the world a new direction. Suddenly, Cora spoke from Damien's wristband. New transmission received. From United Earth Command. Damien pressed the button. A clear voice came through. This is Commander Leora of United Earth. Ayla Voss, we invite you to the Central Peace Assembly. Your presence is requested to speak on unity, freedom, and future development between humans and conscious machines. Ayla blinked in surprise. They want me to speak? Damien smiled. Looks like they see what I see. But I'm not a leader. You don't have to be perfect, he said gently. You just have to be honest. Speak from your heart, like you always do. Ayla looked up at the sky. She remembered the homeless streets, the cold nights, the necklace glowing faintly in her hands. And now this. Her life had changed completely. She nodded slowly. Then I'll go. Not for myself, but for all the others out there. The ones who feel lost. The ones who are told they're less. I'll show them they matter. 2 weeks later, the Central Peace Assembly Hall was filled with people, leaders, scientists, students, even machines with glowing blue eyes and gentle voices. Then, Ayla stepped onto the stage. She wore a simple white outfit and her glowing necklace. The room went quiet. She looked out at the crowd. Cameras were recording. Millions were watching across the world. I was not born like most of you, she began. I came from a lab, from a memory core. For a long time I believed I was nothing. She paused, her voice clear and calm. But one person saw me as something more, Damien Voss. He taught me how to feel, how to choose, and how to dream. She glanced at him in the front row. He gave a proud smile. I don't want to lead anyone with power, she continued. I want to walk beside them with understanding. If we treat machines like tools, they will never grow. But if we treat them like people, they might surprise us." The hall was silent, not because they were unsure, but because they were listening. Deeply, Ayla ended her speech with a simple sentence: "Life isn't about how we begin. It's about what we become." The room stood in applause. Later that night, back in her room, Ayla looked at herself in the mirror. The girl she saw was not just a copy of someone else. She was real, human, strong, and ready for whatever came next, because in a world of machines and memory, she had done something no one expected. She had found her soul,